Cultural Relevance Project by Daisy Coronado. The Wife of Bath by Geoffrey Chaucer. Women's Sovereignty Living in a Patriarchal Society and Dealing with Gender Stereotypes. Geoffrey Chaucer's The Wife of Bath explores the theme of women's sovereignty in marriage desire and the experience living in an era where she challenges the male authority by trying to reframe gender roles. Barbara Gottfried from the Chaucer Review explains the Wife of Bath attempts to overcome and is caught in the bind to give voice to female experience in the face of authorities whose values are overwhelmingly male. Showing from the 14th century all the way to modern days in 2026, issues women face continue to be the same with struggles of dealing with gender norms and fighting for equality with men. Although there have been some improvement for women over the years, it is not enough, not until women can be viewed as equal to men and reap the same opportunities, benefits, and support. How culture and society are impacted today. The theme of women's sovereignty while living in a patriarchal society and dealing with gender stereotypes during the 14th century also impacts issues for many females all around the world. With many women still fighting for basic rights, equalized pay, job opportunities, and reproductive rights, it can be very scary and difficult for women to try and break free from the cycle of oppression and try to find their own wants and desires. But given the stereotypes placed on women to be loyal, submissive, caring, and domestic, when a woman is placed in the category that does not fit these standards, men try to assert control over said women and mold them to conform to the likes of what a woman should be. Current psychology, influence of patriarchal sex role attitudes, and perpetuating dating violence reports, male-dominant patriarchal ideology justifies males using power to control women when they show disobedience, which also explains how men use the ideas of patriarchal society to assert control over women who they feel need correction. Why society is still dealing with this issue. Unfortunately, society is still dealing with the issue of women's sovereignty and gender stereotypes because of the deep-rooted patriarchal system the world was built on. Not to mention the level of hierarchy that plays into society, causing most of the men to be the ones with powerful positions and status, leading men to view themselves as greater than women, limiting their worth, status, or abilities to achieve a higher position than men. And to aid this discussion of why a deep-rooted patriarchal system disallows for significant change, the Journal of Social and Psychological Sciences says, patriarchy is a system that supports hierarchism, male dominance, and egotism, expecting women will always aggrandize men and support them emotionally, aiding to the idea that society is built on a foundation to fuel men while women support them from the side, and if men continue to view themselves as superior, women will continue to be looked at as less than. Some examples of women having to deal with social, economic, sexual, marital, physical, or gender issues while living in a patriarchal society include BMC's public health article Unveiling Patriarchy, a systematical review of economic violence against women, which discusses how women are not only subjected to physical and sexual violence, but also economic violence through control on women's income, education, or employment, which embodies patriarchal inequality, elaborating how women are suffering in more than just the physical way, but also being stripped of the ability to gain an education or self-independence/self-finance by gaining a job. Things like social patriarchy also affect women in large groups when men have the majority in government and lawmaking. There was a recent event in Texas 2022 that overturned a federal right to abortion access for women, outlawing the ability of women to have the right to make decisions regarding their own bodies. Roe v. Wade, additionally a case from 1973, ruled in the favor of placing reproductive rights with other fundamental rights, but in 2022, the Supreme Court overturned that ruling, and the National Library of Medicine reports the overruling of Roe v. Wade means women's ability to have abortion or continue pregnancy is no longer protected. Personal bias. This issue stood out to me because gender inequality was something that women in society deal with all around the world. Issues on gender norms in society, patriarchy is seen daily in workplace settings, government, marriage, families, and relationships. Personally, I have seen how gender inequality affects society, especially growing up in a family who operated under a lifestyle where my dad controlled the house and made rules for me and my mom to follow. Whereas now my parents are separated and I get to see my mom be her true self without worry that she is doing something wrong.